Okay, so this piece of cereal really wanted to be a part of a kid's healthy, nutritious breakfast. So it's climbing, and it's climbing the box of cereal, and then the box closes, and the cereal's like, oh, it must be nighttime. I should probably go get something to drink. So it notices there's a line at the water fountain, so it goes and drinks some water, goes to sleep for the night, wakes up the next morning. It's like, okay, cool, I have another chance about being someone's breakfast. So it climbs, and then the box gets closed, and it's like, oh no, it must be time to go to bed again. Well, I'm really thirsty. And there's a big old line at the water fountain, but notices there's a bowl of punch right there, and that there's no punch line. And then on the beach is all these weird segues. Speaking of segues, here's your good segue.
That was great. And with that, everyone, we're back for another week of Closing Staff. Brought to you gloriously by Cricket, our guest.
It's funny because punchline, like a bowl of punch, and there was no line of cereal to get the punch. And, you expect a punchline at the end of a joke, and the joke had no funny part at the end.
And there's no punchline. And it connects intrinsically to the joke itself, because with no line in for the punch, that's sad. And there's like a hint of like melancholy to that
yes,
joke.
as soon as you said punch, I was like, oh man, that would quench my thirst. Yeah.
I didn't want anything to be closed, I wanted cereal.
Yeah, the cereal was the ultimate goal, and he settled for punch. That's fine. But anyways, we are back for another week, and as you can tell, we do have our great friend Cricket joining us for this week as well.
What a great intro, right?
We thought we'd spice it up for everyone this week, but along with Cricket, our special guest, your standard program guests are here as well. Cashwrap, which is me. Who's next?
Oh no, I'm Distro. The one and only.
I am Trade Hold, and there's probably more of me than one.
We're not too sure if he's the clone yet.
Yeah, we're trying to figure it out.
We'll figure it out during the Clone Wars, which I've never seen.
Yeah, we can get into that later.
We'll get into clones a lot later in the show. But thanks for joining us. Another week, another batch of hot topics, GameStop related, sharing our experiences working there, experiences shopping there, experiences all around. So for everyone out there who works there currently, who used to work there, for people who shop there,
or who wants to work there,
or who has dreams,
aspirations
of
being like that glorious GameStop,
wearing the GS.
Yeah,
GS
right.
badge.
Wearing that polo shirt.
the trophy of working at GameStop.
Dreams of going to conference one day.
Never made it to conference. I never got to do any of that stuff.
Yeah, only one of us here.
I feel like
made
people
it to
who
conference.
wants to work at GameStop, most of them probably don't even know about conference.
That's why we're here. We're doing the people's work right here.
Yeah, for sure.
We got the deep cuts.
We're going under the hood, but not too far because we don't want to get any cease and desist letters. But as far as we can to give everyone a great perspective.
Yep.
So I'll tell you what, if we do get a cease and desist letter, we're definitely talking about it.
Oh yeah.
I feel
unleashing.
like that'd be knowing that we did something right.
We gotta frame it.
Then we're unleashing.
That's why we're all under aliases though, because GameStop.
Exactly.
I mean, as much as we enjoyed working with each other, and as much as we learned from GameStop, it's GameStop.
I'm pretty sure GameStop didn't like having me hired.
Yeah.
At a certain point, they're like, this guy.
Yeah,
I feel like
Cricket was the bane of our district, definitely.
I feel like that's a lot of stories with a lot of GameStops. But I will get into that with another time when we have different guests.
We'll have more guests on the way to help us debrief on some of the more salacious details of working there.
I like that salacious.
For this episode, I think we're going to be diving into some of our experiences working with some of the more valuable things that kind of came into the store. Some
valuable
of the collectibles,
things,
some of the pre-order trade
sort
holds,
of
that
like
sort of thing.
Yeah,
collector's editions.
Editions, limited stock like amiibos. Just like experience working with them, and thing that is somewhat of a hot button is holds. Yeah. Including employee holds or just like pre-order holds, things like that.
Yeah, how long you're holding things for, or people accusing us of favoritism, or or what are the other, or saying, "Oh, you guys just have all of them in the back for your whole staff."
I can definitely speak that I know for a fact that happened at some stores because
I was
a part of I was a part of that at my store. I would But it wasn't for employees. It was for customers that I knew would appreciate it more.
Right. Yeah.
But
and that's part of the talk too. But I feel like there is always the assumption that the employees are just holding it from themselves, or and there's just
they don't have the money.
Yeah. And I mean, there's a lot to cover regarding that. I know we touched upon it before, but this is just more, I mean, we've touched upon a little bit of everything before.
Yeah.
This is more like a episode dedicated to it.
Deeper dive into the experience of holding, fighting against other stores who are trying to hold things,
or even
that sort of thing.
Yeah, kind of the whole thing where having a really small back room, but you have a ton of holds back there for your employees and stuff. Yeah. And they're sending you a lot of the goods, but
someone needs to buy these now.
Someone needs to buy these now. But then I have it on hold for this person, but they haven't come into store yet.
Can you call them up on their cell phone and tell them to please come in? Like we're gonna sell it next week.
This the cloud figure I showed you guys. That one right there is a recent example of something like that. But
Tradehold has a nice figure that he showed us when he came into the studio today.
This is quote unquote studio.
It's a beautiful studio.
Hey, respect the studio.
Yeah, no, respect the studio.
Koi pond in the front.
It's an amazing studio right now. Yeah.
It's a great studio. I think once we get rich and famous, they're going to turn this into the ground zero for giving tours of where this whole thing started.
This will be like the Google garage.
Yeah, exactly. This is the Google garage. This is where it all started. So coming into the studio today, Tradehold unveiled a nice collectible, which is very applicable to the episode today, actually.
Yeah. Wasn't going to start with this, but it's just because we talked about, fighting with other stores. This is the Cloud and Fenrir figure set that actually has the fusion sword and all the different fusion swords, all the different parts, and you can actually put them into the motorcycle. This motorcycle can actually light up and everything. This is a $400 figure. It's actually $370, but after tax and stuff, you're probably looking at $400. And I remember when I first walked into our local store that had it, which was our original store. I was just like, you guys carry these? Because I've been hunting for it on the Square Enix shop. I thought it was just on the Square Enix shop, and it's just it's a lot of money. I don't really collect figures, and they're just like, people have been checking that one out for a while. We've had a lot of different GameStops from different states trying to get us to transfer it over to them, and they were like, no way, because the manager they had before I walked in, the manager had gone to the military. But before that, he pre-ordered that one and an Odin figure, and they thought he was going to pick it up before he left, so they kept holding it for him, but he didn't. So they finally put it out on display, and initially when they first had it, that's when customers asked for it, but they were like, it's the manager's pre-ordered. And then afterwards, they had stores from different states. I think they told me there was North Carolina, Minnesota, a lot of different stores were calling them can you transfer that over? And they're just like, after they found out the manager wasn't picking up, they were just like, no, we're not gonna, because we're not gonna lose a sale on that. And so apparently this GameStop was one of the possibly the only one. Probably not the only one, but one of the very few that had this figure.
Had the figure, right?
Yeah. And so once they finally put it out, I was waiting for not clearance, but a sale for collectibles.
Right.
Once it happened, went straight in and picked it up, 20% off, and then I had gift cards, e-gift card, all that stuff, and it pretty much made it a really good deal.
Yeah.
I spent nowhere near $400.
So it's a beautiful figure too.
It is.
It is. It's a very nice figure. But that's just an example of limited holds and stores fighting for that one product that you have and no one else has.
And that it's funny because that's sort of the collectible policy from what I remember. Now for something probably not as expensive as that, usually they stock your store based on how many pre-orders you have, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes you'll get some extras, depending on how rare the thing is. But something like that, you probably wouldn't expect very many extras beyond what was pre-ordered.
Oh yeah.
You'd only get like one,
Right.
But even to his point too, like my store specifically, the one that I took over, my main store, was we were known for kind of getting that random collectible that was just super sought after.
Right.
You'd open up the box and you're like, oh man, how did we get this? Like, you saw it and you're like, that would be cool, you know? And you see it in store next moment, you're like, oh man, do I put this on hold for myself? But then I know it's gonna sell really well. As soon as I put it out, I know like people are gonna get it, and then it gets to another point where it's like I'm not even taking this out of the box because I know the value on it. Like, I don't even want to break the seal or crease the box or do anything, you know, like out of the ordinary, you know. Like,
so as someone who doesn't really collect figures, that's what I normally do. To be honest, I leave it in the box. But I'm like, you know what? Final Fantasy VII is not even my favorite Final Fantasy. So I'm taking this out of the box.
It's like I'm gonna do this right now.
I spent hours posting that thing. You know how hard it is to get Cloud to sit on the freaking motorcycle. Like that was most of my time. Was just like how far do I have to bend his knees and everything, his ankles. How the heck did I get this guy on his freaking motorcycle? It shows it on the box. I can do it, right?
It's possible, I think. Unless they photoshopped out the guy's hand who's holding it in place or something.
Unless they glued him. Right.
I was gonna say one of the pictures on the box shows which hand to use because there's multiple hand positions to hold onto the motorcycle handle.
Yeah.
And I'm over here like, how do I get him to bend over far enough for the hand to hold onto the handle? Like, what is this right now? There's some kind of troll figure.
It's a troll figure.
Tradehold spent an unusual amount of time playing with Cloud's body shapes to figure out.
Hey man, I was interested in the sword. If we're gonna get into sexual innuendos,
let's just say Cloud was very flexible.
Found that Cloud is flexible.
No, actually, I thought the opposite. I was disappointed at the inflexibility.
We can keep going.
To repeat,
anyways, back on topic.
But to Cashwrap's point too, like it really depended on kind of pre-orders as well. But you know, to our glorious man over here, Tradehold, he'd always come into my store, you know, bless him, and he'd always buy a lot of the good figures. So it kind of showed the system, like we've spoken on other episodes, where the system would register, hey, they're selling a lot of collectibles, and not so much the regular ones. They're selling like the top notch ones, the ones that look nice, or the ones that maybe don't sell out of the store. So let's look them up. Like, let's get them, you know, like some of those collectibles, because we know they have those customers that'll come in and, you know, take a look at it and be like, oh, no, that's the one I want.
Yeah.
And even with you, too, you know, like, Tradehold, you know, you'd always come into my store and be like, what's good? I'd be like, all right, hold on, I have a few figures in the back that just came in. Like, that we haven't put out, you know, just yet cool. Because, you know, we don't have room yet, but...
The great thing about that is that, I just mentioned that I don't really do figures. So when I went into the store to buy figures from you guys, it was mostly as a gift. So
I remember you saying that. It was always.
It's always a gift.
Always a gift.
The last $10 sale, you can probably see it right over there. I have a ton of them.
Oh yeah.
All gifts. They're not. None of them were for me. So
nice.
The only thing I bought for myself was the Cloud.
I think the last thing I sold to you that was for you was that Gohan statue. I think.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
Yeah, that Gohan statue.
Because that one was the only one that was actually like painted really nice. It's not that one. It was the quote unquote cell shaded looking one.
Yeah.
But it's the only one that looked nice. All the other ones kind of looked a little weird.
I remember that. That's the I think it's called the manga dimensions or something.
Yeah, it's when he's about to fight Cell and he's all bloodied up and stuff. You know,
that one was pretty dope.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that one was pretty dope. I'm a Gohan fan, by the way.
Yeah, all right.
Tradehold is our regular old Santa Claus around this area and always buying gifts for everybody. Making
randomly
sure someone is.
I'm nowhere near the Santa Claus status, but
Santa Claus in July.
He's Santa Claus when he needs to be, but more Assassin's Creed.
I'm like, this is a podcast for everybody, so let's not like ruin it for the kids here. Santa Claus totally exists.
A regular old Saint Nick is what we have.
By the name of Tradehold.
By the name of Tradehold.
Saint Tradehold.
Anyways, back on topic.
Yeah, right. Back at my store, I could say one of the cooler items that I had on the topic of my back room being super small was we got the giant Overwatch Blizzard Diva statue. I remember a Tradehold could probably remember that thing. Yeah, but the big old box that came in out of nowhere.
Wow.
And we were like, what happened, you know, here? Well, why did we get this? Like, I remember just getting that box and it was so heavy. And that thing, I forget how tall it was, but it was really tall. You know, it was...
It's over there.
Is it over there? Yeah. Oh, nice.
See that big box right there? That's it.
Yeah, right?
It's like 50 inches around.
Diva statues.
Yep.
Right there on the wall.
Yeah, because we weren't sure.
Wow, it's on a statue of gold already.
And I haven't seen you in years, but essentially that thing came in and we were confused because we originally thought my assistant manager pre-ordered it and just forgot about it because he would just pre-order. He would just like to, we're all guilty of it. We pre-order things to kind of, fluff the numbers a little bit.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
He looks around, he's just constantly looking, he just like already has a list of things like, oh, I just got paid, like, yeah, throw these on pre-order real quick. So we thought he had pre-ordered the Diva statue, but he didn't pre-order the Diva statue, he pre-ordered the Diva Nindroid that was coming out. The Nindroid, like the actual figure. So we were like, oh, it's not the statue, you have the Nindroid pre-ordered. And he was just like, oh, okay. Well, that's a good relief. He's like, I thought I was going to have to buy that. We're like, damn.
Hook for that
it
price,
turns out it was a gentleman, I think, that was overseas or something like that. And he had pre-ordered it, and he didn't realize how big it was. He thought it was kind of like your regular size, but then he didn't realize it was freaking huge.
Yeah, it's huge.
And we kept calling him. We kept calling him, and he didn't answer. But we were like, we're just going to sell it under his feet real quick.
Right,
like,
exactly. You want to make sure. And that's a good point you bring up. We used to do that when we had those really rare things come in. We try to make one last ditch effort to call the original pre-order owner, just to see if if we could get through to them.
Unless they were
before
a jerk.
making a sale.
Yeah, unless you're a jerk.
My store, we had those jerk customers that if we didn't hold it for them like 3 days afterwards, but they never made an effort to let us know, like, hey, I'm going to be late. They would like, we're going to call corporate, and blah, blah, blah. And I remember my SGA at the time, she was really good at like being that connection to the community for like pop figures or any like statues or anything. She knew the clients. She also knew which people to avoid. We had some dude who we would just call him the Dragon. We were just like, he's the Dragon. And I'm like,
that
why?
Sounds savage.
The Dragon.
Right? Well, he was just
breath.
so mean to everybody that like, he would just come in and have an aura of hatred. Like he would just come in, but he would do all these pre-orders in the store and always complain like, I don't know why I haven't pre-ordered with all y'all. You guys never help me out. Like, our policy is 48 hours.
Jeez.
We call you when it's in, and then you tend to wait a week after to call to see if we still have it, even though you pre-ordered it.
Yeah.
And so like, she was always mad at me. Stop selling his items. Like, listen, I'm following our policy. Someone else wants to buy it, I'm putting it out on the shelf, and I would always sell, hot figures, whatever he had. And he came in, let me speak to your manager. I'm like, hi, that's me. What up?
What do you need?
He's so bad. I would hit him. Pre-order policies. We hold items 48 hours. It's your responsibility to let us know if you're going to pick it up after that a lot of time.
Yeah.
Yes,
And that's that balance. There's that natural tension, I think, of figuring out where you need to make that sale and figuring out where you need to take care of your customer.
Yeah, because this gentleman for the Diva statue, for sure, he was overseas because he was like trained. No, I'm sorry, he was done with his training and he was coming back from being deployed for like I don't know what branch of the army or of like service, but he called and he was just like, yo, I just got home. Like, I was overseas, like, I heard my figure came in, I just saw like, calls and stuff like that, like, I'm coming in, and then we were like, oh, damn, okay, for sure, and then day after he calls, he's like, never mind. He's like, never mind, he's like, I don't have the money for it, he's like, I realized how big it was, my girlfriend says, no, help, like, no, and he's just like, I'm sorry, I know you guys did me a solid, but, like, you guys are good to sell it, and I'm like, okay, no, for sure. And then I remember you'd been looking at a trade hold for a little while. And then as soon as you saw it, you were just like, that thing's up for grabs. I'm like, yeah, man. Like if you want to get it, like go for it. Because people have been calling about it, like you were saying, like out of state and stuff.
Yeah.
Because everyone's like, how did you get the Blizzard like huge Diva statue? We're like, we don't know. I guess someone pre-ordered it.
We don't know.
Yeah, and then like we took a look at it, and did we open it or no? Because did we take a look at the paint or anything?
No.
We just left it sealed and everything, right?
I mean, Considering when I put together that one.
Oh yeah, we even left it in the box. That's right. Yeah. We even left it in the
box. That was not from the store.
No?
That one was actually a gift to me.
Okay.
From someone who owed me money and decided to just give me a few statues.
Nice. Okay, never mind. Yeah.
Yeah, but that one wasn't from your store, but I would have known if we opened it because that's in all kinds of pieces. Like
really?
when you open it.
Really? Right, yeah.
Yeah, but no, I remember that because you guys kept saying it's like, oh, it's open. You want to pick it up? I'm like, that's the cost of a system though. Like,
how much was it? It was like $400.
It was $450.
That's
before
tax.
Before tax. It's $738 right now on Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, it's a nice statue.
Here's the thing too. I missed it because at one point it was on clearance for $260.
No.
And I was just like,
wow.
Dude. Well, I mean, really? I don't mind that I missed it now because I got it as a gift, but
yeah,
I was just like $260. But it was sold out by that time. And then when Blizzard was having their sale, I think actually at the end of last year or something like that, suddenly GameStop restocked and suddenly it's back up to $450.
$450 now.
It's like, oh darn. But you know what? It's funny because it sold out everywhere, and if the recent $10 for statue sale that they had, the Reaper one and the Diva one were $10, but the Diva one was nowhere to be found, obviously.
Yeah.
So it's just They just did that, I guess. But
Okay.
the Reaper one though, the Reaper one's normally I think 150, 175 or something like that.
Really?
That one was down to $10, but it was only for local pickup.
Oh.
And I remember hunting for that because I was gonna get that as a gift
Okay.
for my friend,
Yeah.
for one of my buddies. And the only one that had it was in Palisades, New Jersey, and
Jeez.
there was one in Seattle, Washington. No, that's I think it's Linwood, Washington, or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm like, well, lucky for anyone who can get that one.
Yeah,
So.
whoever's in the area.
You're
Is
right.
is the 450? Does that represent the highest you've paid for a collectible?
I didn't pay for that.
Does that represent the highest valued?
Collectible I have.
Yeah.
If we're not talking about video game collectible stuff, then yeah, I would
just
think so.
pure collectible that didn't
I would
come
say
with the
I would say
game.
yes. Yeah.
Nice.
The 450 one, huh?
Yeah.
Well, now it's up to
7.
seven something. Huh?
What
Well-
about you guys? Do you have any stories about like really high value holds or like anything you held for yourselves?
You know,
Any kind of guilty pleasures where you'd be like, no, I'm not putting this on the floor. This is definitely one of mine.
well that was kind of the fortunate position that we were put in, as GameStop employees, is you open up that distro and you can decide to throw that in the back and hide it until you're ready to pay for it, or put it out on the floor right away. So I don't think any collectibles, pure collectibles, have hit me that way. It hit me for games though, for sure.
Nice, yeah, for sure,
back,
yeah.
when Metroid Prime Trilogy on the Wii was super rare.
Oh, yeah.
Or when we used to carry the PS2 games with the box and the entire Persona collection would come in.
Yeah.
Things like that I remember, stashing behind, the Xbox 360 $5 bin so no one would find it, like actually in the bin
Yeah.
itself, not in the game section, but lifting that and putting it in the bin.
I
I would do that sometimes.
No,
to hide
folks,
my
in
stuff.
the bin.
In the
now
bin.
you know. Look
I'm not-
inside the bin.
I'm not
Lift
saying
at your local GameStop.
What are you doing? Cashwrap told me in the bin.
lift the bins up. There's a lot of room in there. You can put a lot of games in there. But yeah, I think actual collectibles though. The only one that I got that I still have is probably one of the original Gears of War Lancers.
Ooh,
Nice.
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 Yeah.
There
Wasn't
we
that
go.
expensive.
Oh, but one of the OG ones that
but
came
that's
out
the
back in the
OG
day.
ones. Yeah, and then I got the retro one too.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, I don't have the original anymore, but I still have the retro.
You know what's jacked up? We were supposed to get the new Lancers for I think it was Judgment and Gears of War 4.
But I
But then
think it's,
they're not
the
legal
policy.
in California apparently.
Yeah.
To
Really?
have, because it's
Mhm.
too
Because
it's
it's
too
metal.
weapon like.
Yeah.
Wait, are the old ones? Did they make the old ones illegal to have too?
I don't think so. If anything, I don't think it's illegal to have, but it's illegal to sell in store.
To sell in store.
So
Wow.
the only loophole that I could find was it can't
Transfer.
be shipped to my store, but I can have it transferred from out of state to my store.
Oh, interesting.
So
Okay.
what was messed up? It was the Lancer from Gears of War, I think 4, and it was the Gallahorn that they came out with, the McFarlane Gallahorn. You know,
Because
Yeah.
everybody knows those look way too realistic.
Yeah, right. Yeah, because we all know you're gonna, if you walk down with a Gallahorn, I digress. But yeah, like basically those things were sweet, but I had a diehard Destiny fan in my store. Like she was legit, like
Really?
yeah, she was all about Destiny, and like I helped her out. She had the Gallahorn pre-ordered for like a long time.
This is a regular, right?
Yeah, one of the regulars.
Was
Yeah,
that the one who cosplayed?
Yeah, she
as the-
cosplayed the Warlock. Yeah,
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
I
really?
won't
Oh,
name
that's
drop her.
cool.
But
Yeah,
she's
of course
super
not.
cool,
But
Wow.
yeah, she
But-
had a pretty cool warlock get up. That's
Really?
pretty awesome.
yeah, no, she had the raid armor from the Vault of Glass,
I think
and then
you
she
might have
3D
shown me a
printed her
picture of
helmet.
this.
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
I think you
I
showed me a
remember
picture
the
of
helmet. Wasn't it the void something? Void
No,
of
it was
something?
the freaking it was the one with the wings on the
Yeah,
side
yeah, I
that
remember
helps you
that.
res people faster.
Yeah.
I forget
I
what
don't.
it's called.
I thought it was
Yeah.
called the void something, but I guess not. I don't remember. I know exactly what the helmet looks like. I just don't
Yeah.
remember the name of it. I haven't played Destiny in a while.
Yeah, right. No, I haven't worn that helmet in years in the game, but essentially, she had the Gallahorn pre-ordered, and we had to break it to her essentially that hey, like I can't, we're not gonna get it. Like
That's
we're not gonna
messed
get
up,
it. It's,
man.
it's in the system because of GameStop as a whole. They don't for
But,
some
like,
reason separate it.
Stores
But-
aren't going to be.
Yeah, I
getting
told her
it
it's gonna
and-
come out, and we're just never gonna get it. And she was so brokenhearted, but I told her I was like, hold on, let me see what I can do because I had heard of another store doing something similar.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I called up the manager of that store, and I was just asking him. I was like, hey, how did you go about selling that item? That store was legit. And, like, could you talk to the district manager and all that?
Yeah.
They're like, oh no, yeah, I spoke to them. It's all good. So I was like, all right, fine, let's do it. Like worst case scenario, what happens? I'm taking care of the customer.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah. So
right.
I found a store. I think it was in where was it? It was like Nebraska, I think.
Okay.
And they were one of the few. It was like one of the states around Texas. It was like right around Texas.
Yeah.
And like they had one of them, and they said, "Hey, this is not selling in my store at all. Like we don't want this." It's like they were kind of like one of our stores were super small,
Yeah.
and it was like a big old box, you know? And they were like, "None of our people like Destiny around here, so it's not going to sell." You know, I was like, "Oh, sweet, can you?" And I told them the whole story, and they're like, "Yeah, we'll transfer it to you." So like, yeah, they did a great job transferring it over, great condition. You know, yeah, they actually packaged it well. You know, we were able to sell it. You know, like it was actually pretty sweet. Yeah,
I mean, I think that's a great story too, because there's sometimes we don't get, like, GameStop employees don't get a lot of credit for, you know, the trouble we go through to help out a customer. Because everyone in the show is just accusing of, employee holds for themselves, they don't care about the customers. Oh, dude, we sometimes go through a lot of like hoops just to help the customer.
Yeah, like Cricket was saying too, if they're cool customers and they show us, you know, that they're awesome, you know, we're gonna go the extra mile.
Yeah. Actually, I wanted to talk about Amiibos when they first launched. I worked the day they first launched. I think I did a few days of the, you know, of some of the waves. Like I remember, and you know, system crashing.
Gosh.
And
system crashes.
I mean, we also get a lot of that was the time though when it was that all-time high of just accusing GameStop employees of holding Amiibos for themselves. There's something I wanted to mention about employee holds, is that sometimes we have to hold it because we cannot do transactions for ourselves.
Right.
That is a red flag.
Right.
That will get you in trouble right away. So we have no choice. When we're working, we can't buy the stuff, so we hold it. And so I would say it's not always, you know, we don't take everything.
Right.
So we actually do, we leave a lot for the customers. But there's this one, it wasn't an Amiibo, but I just remember the Amiibo was during a time when customers were accusing GameStop of holding like a lot.
Yeah.
But I remember one, it wasn't an Amiibo story. This is for the 3DS Majora's Mask.
Oh.
I worked that morning too. I opened that morning. That I was by myself. That was announced in Nintendo Direct that morning.
Yeah.
And then it came out on email that was like, oh yeah, so we're doing pre-orders for this.
Yeah.
The same morning when I was opening. So no awareness of it whatsoever. No preparation. But people that watched the Direct knew and went straight to the local GameStop.
Yeah, because it was Japan time, right? So it was earlier.
Yeah,
Was it the time difference that thing, or they announced it at like 5 in the morning?
No,
for
no,
us,
it was like 7 a.m. for US, if I remember right.
Or like 7 a.m.
Yeah.
Before we opened.
It was before we opened. Yeah, most definitely. So I mean, the only prep I knew was that I walked in and I saw people lining up. That was the only preparation I had. And obviously, I walked in the same time I normally do, which was like 9 a.m.
Yeah.
And you see the horde already?
Yeah. It wasn't like a huge line. There was like 5 people.
Yeah.
But it was enough because it was very limited pre-order, and the system already crashed as soon as I tried to do the pre-order. And
that's funny.
The worst part is, eventually, they sent out the emails and the calls and stuff that said, "Hey, have them call this number. You know, call these customers back that tried to pre-order. Have them call this number."
I remember that phone number. Yeah, Nintendo's had support or whatever.
Yeah. So
line.
the problem with that was, because these transactions didn't go through, I didn't have a list. So I had to look through the transactions, like what was bought this morning, and okay, I remember this guy bought this. He was looking for it. Okay, let me give him a call. There was one. I called back everybody except for one person, and I was just like, this person doesn't have an account. He did not buy anything this morning. How do I get a hold of him? So I went through, I think, like an hour to go, okay, he was with this dude. He was friends with that guy. This guy bought this Nintendo e-card. Yeah. I'll give him a call and then have his friend call me. Yeah. And that's how I went through it, to get this guy to call this number so that he can get his 3DS Majora's Mask.
How did I have the reputation of being the best customer service when I would never do anything like that?
Because I'd hype you up at my store. I'd
I know,
be like, Cricket, this guy, oh yeah. Cricket, oh yeah. Where'd you come from? Oh, you went over there, Cricket, right? Yeah.
Just remembering all the stuff Tradehold would do for a customer while I sold a lady's PS4 that was on hold special edition. And then when I was just like hit with them, like, yeah, sorry. Like, that was my bad.
Because people admired and respected your decisions, even if they were against their own wishes.
And they like your jokes.
They like your jokes too.
But I mean, seriously,
when there was no punchline.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why I was like, oh yeah, Cricket, this and that. We're told that you're the greatest customer. Like, I get it. I seem like I'm great with customers, but I'm not. Like, I do not. Like, in the most loving of ways, I did not care about any of my guests until they gave me a reason to care about them.
He's just being humble over here.
Yeah, totally humble, modest.
Straight up.
Totally modest,
I had
yeah.
my friends that I made from working there and the people that I loved as shoppers, and they became friends in real life. But most people in my life at GameStop were always just that customer in my mind.
Yeah.
Oh, there's so-and-so that's always going to look at JRPG, so I'm going to know that I want to sell them a JRPG and get them out of my store.
Yeah.
And yet Tradehold over here would do some CSI research to get some dude with no account there. I was like, oh yeah, no, they came in. I'm not gonna waste my time calling all these customers. Good luck.
Yeah.
Let's go to
You
another
did do
GameStop.
It's true, Cricket to do that. I remember that.
Two strategies around customer service there. I think we have two good perspectives on the show right
You
now.
know, coming into the store and having all you guys all these different strats, you really did learn, especially Cricket and one of our other employees. We don't know what to call him yet, but
Yeah.
you know, yeah, it's like you definitely learned the difference between like great customer service and that whole, you know what, I'm just here to clock in, clock out, and get the out. You know? Yeah, and the only thing in my way right now is you. Like you said, what do you want? That same JRPG? Oh no, like I'm sorry, I don't even go on there. But it's like, or do you want the same this game or that the game? You know, it's like, oh man, but
Go buy the next Call of Duty. I get. Don't spend 5 hours on my store.
it's only because, like you said, yeah, you get some of those like customers that come through and you're like, oh man, like you're being rude, you're
Yeah.
being very like snarky, like kind of like you know, you come in here all the time and you're not really like adding to the environment or anything.
Yeah.
It's like, but then like you're expecting us to go the extra mile for you, you know? Like I'm still gonna help you out. I'll still try to take care of you, but
Yeah.
you know, you definitely learn how to navigate the gaming waters.
Yeah.
You know, because like you definitely get to get an idea of like how everybody interacts with everybody. You know.
Oh yeah.
You know what? Speaking of, this whole thing, I had to also put something out there because you were talking about how people think of Cricket as like the best customer service.
True.
It's the surveys. I want to talk about the surveys.
Oh man.
So,
Surveys.
any regular customer, GameStop customer probably knows that they always push on you. Hey, do the surveys for us. Makes us look like good.
Mhm.
That's very true. Like, do those surveys. And obviously we don't work there anymore. But if you go to a regular
do the
GameStop
surveys.
and you make these purchases, do the surveys for these guys
Yeah,
or these
yeah.
girls, because they actually get looked at, and any highlighted ones get sent to each individual, or like a list of them get sent to the emails. It's like, oh, whatever comment you made, that's on there. And the score, I think, is that an average score? I don't remember how they do with that.
Yeah, it was. They would, by the end of the week, see what your highest rating was, even though we found out the only ratings that the company cared about was were you recommended a product,
recommended a
and will
product.
you be coming back in the future?
Will you be coming
Those are the
back.
only two metrics really weighed. Everything else was a fluff metric.
Yeah. Yeah.
But,
And neutral, and negative scores sucked.
Yeah.
You only needed promoters, right?
Yeah.
Is that's still what it was?
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, so from a customer's perspective, even like coming into the GameStop, like our old GameStop, not shopping there for a long time, it's like even the worst time you're having, be kind to the GameStop employees, There's times where we're just super stressed out. We may say stuff like that where it's like, hey, like, I just want to get out of here, get the hell out of my store. But, if you're nice, if you're adding to like our day, we're definitely go the extra mile for you.
I'm spending 8 hours of my life, sometimes 10 hours of my life in the store.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
right?
if you're gonna
Yeah,
be
like-
someone who comes in for 2 hours, at least like entertain me for 2 hours.
Be entertaining.
Give
Like me?
chat with
Order?
Yeah. like
Tradehold would
like
just-
Tradehold, aka Saint Nick. Buying gifts for folks.
Speaking about the surveys though, the master of surveys that got it going was, I'm gonna call your old store leader Store Transfer. The time he messed with me from a store-to-store transfer on PS4s.
Oh, I remember that one, yeah.
I'm gonna call him Store Transfer right now.
I remember he told me beforehand, too, he's like, Cricket's gonna call in like 20 minutes, watch.
Freaking out. I didn't know what he looked like confirmation-wise, but he had the receipt survey spiel on lock.
Oh, no, yeah, he was my
Hey, thanks
mentor,
for
yeah.
coming in. This is my store right here. You need to circle store location. This is my employee number right here. Circle employee number. This is my name. Write down down here. Here's how much you save by having your Power Up Pro card. And then check it out. We have this tellgamestop.com survey right here. You tell me how I did. All great scores help me out a lot. If you think I was okay, let me know. I'm always trying to improve. But he had that thing down like 3 or 4 second spiel every time. Yep. And then when I started doing the exact way he taught me, I would have the best remarks. I was like, oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we got used to, because we'd always teach everybody that there's like one motion where you can circle everything.
Yeah.
So, just go, and it's basically like,
it's a technique.
It was like, these are your points. Yeah, this is exactly like where you take the survey. This is your customer ID number. And then this is like all the information you need. And when people ask you a question, it's just like, oh, right here. You're like, oh, what do I need? Oh, no, it's this website right here. I circled it for you, and then I circled the link too.
Yeah, circle the link. Ask you what employee number it is, that's me right there.
Yeah, exactly. And you go through, and it's just like, oh, it's okay. Because most of the time people look at the receipt, and it's like the Matrix. It's just a bunch of lines and numbers. But then once it's highlighted, like you said, it's great.
But yeah, I mean, all that stuff I did, like I'm just saying as an example, all that stuff I did would help with customers. Most of the time they don't, do the survey, and so, like, a lot of people they don't know. They spend more time complaining, than that. Most of the time, word of mouth is about the only way you can find out who's the good, customer service person.
Definitely.
Yeah, right.
And
so going to those links to get some of these folks their collectibles didn't always show up on the surveys.
Yeah. See, well, that was even intense too. Like speaking to you, Cashwrap, like more so like in my tenure at GameStop, it kind of the seas turned to collectibles. And now we're worrying about like holds and all that stuff. Like, how was it before? Were the items people were holding like before? Like, were the hot let's say consoles back in the day?
Oh
like,
man, it was
or like
Wild
accessories, or like let's say before the whole collectibles buzz started coming around.
Yeah, that was Wild West times.
Especially let's say like the R2D2 Xbox or like anything of that sort.
I mean, even what I was saying. What I'm accustomed to is holding games, the rare games, which you guys remember.
Or like when Xenoblade Chronicles came out on like Wii or something,
that sort of thing. Man, it was Wild West, man. I mean, case, no case, manual. I mean, people come to manual, all that stuff. Do you remember that, right?
Yeah, I mean, I went straight into pre-order that one because I followed the story with Operation Rainfall and the fan campaign to get that game over to the West Coast, or not the West Coast, but the West, like the U.S.
But I forget about that. Yeah, with manual now. Like I love the manual.
With manual, like that was
all that stuff.
That used to be a thing.
Cover art. How nice the art is. Is it the original plastic?
Or is it the greatest hits case? I don't want the greatest hits case. I want the OG clear case.
That's by the way, we're all talking about me right now. That's who I am.
That's Tradehold. I think we all have a story for Tradehold.
But I also remember my favorite thing about working there was looking at collector's editions of games that I knew like my favorite one, my best memory is Uncharted. Had the collector's edition that we had to switch to pre-owned.
Yes.
And they were like, oh yeah, just tag it as pre-owned and they get everything in the collector's edition.
Good call.
And I was like, nah. And so I just grabbed the game, put that pre-owned, and all the collector's edition items went to me.
Oh yeah.
I was like, they're getting a pre-owned game and that's it.
Little known fact there. Yeah.
I'm guilty of that only I think like a few times, but one of my favorites was Gears of War 2's collector's edition. Came with like a lot of good stuff. It was like the photo of Dom and Maria. You got like the COG necklace. You got like the art book. You got like a whole bunch of cool stuff. Yeah.
I've actually never done that. Surprisingly, probably because I usually buy the collector's edition.
You didn't have to wait for it to go pre-owned because you probably already had it.
What was that called? When you would switch it from new to pre-owned because they weren't making it new anymore or something like that, and then the collector's edition would actually be on pre-owned, just a regular pre-owned game.
I forget what that was called.
Because you'd have to put all the stickers on them. You're like, oh, let's got switch to pre-owned.
Right. Same thing for the strategy guide. The collector's edition strategy
well, that one I know is just pennied out.
Pennied out.
Pennied out.
Great days.
A good day that day. Whenever that happened.
Remember, there was a time where they told us that. Because before it was like, if you had like, I won't say who, I won't point any fingers, but it'd be like two schools of thought: pay the penny or just take it home. Pay the penny or just take it home. The company was saying that you could do neither at some point. They said you had to just throw it out.
You had to destroy it.
You just had to essentially just destroy it.
It's a field destroy, right? That's what they call it.
It was a field destroy.
Remember you had to take a hammer to the disc?
Yeah.
Or rip the pages out of it. Do you remember
that? That felt wrong.
We were told to do that. I don't know if they do that anymore.
Not anymore, no. At some point, it was kind of just like, I don't...
Well,
the thing is, they're still there, but no one tells
I was going to say there was that video.
There was a video all over, like, was it Facebook of that kid dumpster diving, like, look at GameStop, just
Oh
you
yeah,
go to charity.
that's around the yeah.
And we're like,
that's-
oh,
yeah.
I mean, I don't think people realize that it's not the employee's decision. It's like
Right.
the company saying
Yeah.
these aren't making
They
money.
they
Right.
have to do that because
They couldn't donate it.
yeah, they couldn't donate. They didn't want employees taking it home.
Right.
And it's like because customers would customers accusing employees of just taking it home.
Yeah.
Afterwards, so it's like okay, it has to be destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can't take it home.
Exactly.
And so now these can be given to customers, or I used to buy them with pennies. I was
Mhm.
like, oh no, I remember actually going
Yeah.
into a distro store, and I'm like, I'll pay the penny, man. It's like, oh, you don't need to. I'm like, no, I'll pay the penny, dude.
I would just
I'm
give you
down
guides,
with
to be
it.
honest.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
but
That's
yeah,
what I said. I was like, if you're doing really well, yeah, like just take the guide. I'll pay
Just
the
take
penny
the-
for
yeah.
you. You know, yeah, like go for
I'll
it.
pay the penny.
We'll
Because
get a
realistically,
penny by the end
like-
of the day.
Yeah, some of them were actually really good guides. So
Yeah.
like, where it's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
My
man,
Metal Gear guide. I have a Metal Gear Phantom Pain, the collector's edition guide. That
Oh, nice.
I
I don't know. I think Tradehold. Did you get that for me as a gift?
I
feel like-
probably did because I realized that I didn't get one for myself, and I was like, oh, that's one I missed out on.
Yeah. I look at it now and I saw one store like had it painted out. I'm gonna get that, and then the next day it was gone. I was like, oh, I should never lag on a pennied out.
On a
Guide.
penny out item.
And then Dragon's Dogma's guide. I remember my friend gave it to
Oh,
me, and I'm
nice,
like
yeah.
pennied out. I'm like that game's huge.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
I got Batman Arkham Knight's guide with the lithographs for a penny.
Yo.
Ooh, wow.
You know, yeah, that one was actually really nice. It was all
Yeah.
hardcover and
Yeah,
everything
yeah.
too. Yeah,
Thank you GameStop for not finding value in books.
Yeah.
yeah right. No, for real though.
But yeah, I mean that's like that's the whole thing with customers complaining again that all customers will get it, or some people will be like this favoritism.
Mhm.
Well, in the end of the day, if you don't get it and you complain about it, no one gets it
Yeah.
because it gets literally destroyed and it's a waste. It's a giant waste.
Like I said, you either get
Yeah.
smashed with a hammer or it gets sent where games go to die.
Yeah.
Grapevine, Texas.
Exactly.
That's where all your guys' games go to die. Just there's a one spot in Grapevine.
I think the customers that complain, like I was just on the Reddit board, and I love seeing that the community on it stopped really, like it just kind of said, hey, stop complaining about GameStop. So I remember there used to be this whole community of people who hated GameStop.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
And it was just
giant
like,
rants.
yeah, people would have giant rants, and it's like you realize they're a store, they're for-profit business.
Right.
Like we don't. And I remember like this one customer came in going on this whole rant about how we don't care about gamers for money. I'm like, and do you go to Walmart expecting them to care about you? No, you go there knowing that they're gonna hold a product for you.
Right.
That's the end of the day. That's
Got
all
what
care
you
about.
need.
In
End of the
GameStop,
day.
we're slightly more specialized, but
Yeah, what's good about being specialized, at least that we can go that extra mile. for
We
people
could.
Right,
specifically.
right.
and that's the thing is that people would complain that we were jerk employees because they had an idea of GameStop employees being jerks, but really it's like, nah, you were cool to us. We would figure out how to help you. We
Yeah.
would go that
Mhm.
extra mile,
Mhm.
and you honestly didn't have to be that cool. You can be someone that just came in regularly enough that we got
Right.
to know you by name, and
Yeah.
we're like, hey, oh, you really like the series? Check this out. We just got this traded in. It's original cover art with that. I know you bought the game pre-owned,
Right.
and if you want to bring your case to us, you can switch out the case. No big deal.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
We would do something like that.
I got that treatment a few times.
Yeah, you would just walk in the
Um,
store, steal our cases.
Well, no, I was gonna say,
well,
hey,
how about that?
but
Like we didn't care.
Yeah.
Yeah, straight old school. You're
Yeah.
gonna bring us crappy cases, and we don't care about the next customer unless they care, and then we're like, wow.
Yeah.
Gauge
Then we have to
But
choose a favorite.
Yeah.
Well, I remember one time I walked in and some of the stuff that I got traded collector's edition or like
Uh-huh.
limited editions would trade in, and obviously when they trade in that way, you just sell it as pre-owned.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter whether the collector's
Doesn't
edition or
matter.
not. You can remove the stuff
Yeah.
and then just sell the game pre-owned. And the store manager that I had when I was working there, before I worked there, obviously, I walked in one time and she's like, "Oh yeah, don't you play all these games?" It's like, "Well, these all came in collector's editions, and we're just gonna move them to pre-owned.
Yeah.
So did you want them?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, I totally want them." You
Yeah.
know?
You get
And
all
that's-
that
Yeah,
extra freebies
Yeah.
that people paid a premium for when it came out.
yeah.
So,
Well, I've
totally
even
cool.
asked like certain customers too, like when they'll trade something in, like let's say I was a collector's edition, I'll be like, well, realistically, the only thing we need is the disc and maybe the case.
Right.
Like we don't even need the case.
Yeah, really, we
Yeah.
have a
Like,
bunch of
but
crappy-
because you're giving us the case too, like I'll take the case, but realistically, like all this extra content, you don't want it. Like you paid the extra,
Right, you
the extra
paid for
money
that.
for this stuff right here.
Yeah,
Like you don't want
exactly.
like the coin or whatever, the DVD or whatever it comes with, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
And they're most, I'd
Book.
say about like 3 out of 5 times, most people are like, no, it's
No,
okay.
they don't
Like,
care.
I don't
I'll
even
just
care.
get rid of
Like here,
it.
just take the whole thing. Like I cared at the time, but not anymore. And
Not
that's why I'm
anymore.
usually like, now should I take it?
Yeah.
You know. But then at the time too, it's like unless it was a game that I really really loved, where I was like, oh. You know, I would just put it back on the shelf or something.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
if my employees would be down for it, like, you know, I'd be like, isn't this game more your flavor? They'll be
DLC
like,
codes
yeah.
and the
Right.
things like, you want this? I have all these DLC stuff that I don't want.
Yeah,
Right.
like someone traded in, I think it
codes.
was like Dragon Ball Fighters for the Xbox.
Oh,
With
yeah.
like, but it was like the one with like the codes and everything on the
Yeah.
The
inside.
day one edition.
Yeah, and I told him, I was like, you don't want to keep the codes in case like you want the game later on or anything like that? He's like, no, you can give them to somebody, you know, like it's fine or anything
Yeah,
like that. He's like, I didn't like the game, my friends don't play it. And I was just like, oh, well, thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, like,
Oh, I will give that to
like
someone.
I will utilize
I am
this.
someone.
Pocket. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's kind of weird to see like how different people value those collector's edition
Mhm.
items, you know?
Well,
Yeah.
that's a whole subject that we could probably get into because of the terms that developers and not developers, publishers use with these editions.
Mhm.
Oh, right.
Because what's being said a lot now is that limited editions aren't limited, and that's technically not correct because they have different terms. There's limited, there's premium, there's
Mhm.
deluxe, there's
Mhm.
collectors. So collector's edition technically aren't always going to be limited.
Yep.
Deluxe editions, premium editions aren't technically all going to be limited.
Right.
Limited editions
It's gonna be
usually are.
limited.
Yeah, limited editions usually are
Usually
limited.
are.
Premiums tend to be limited too.
Right.
But you know, there's no way to tell.
Yeah.
But they just kind of lump it all together. It's like, oh, collector's editions are
Pre-order
not
bonus.
limited anymore.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
they are. You just have to know which ones. It's
Which ones you're getting?
not always easy to tell, but usually if it's something from like EA, probably not
I feel like
limited.
there's got to be a chart. Like
Well,
almost
there
like a
was
chart
somewhat of a
there.
chart where collector's edition stuff. It was the limitation is on production because they would make the collector's edition items before the game
Yeah.
Mhm.
was there. So
Oh, right.
that was its limitation. Everything else, like the deluxe edition, was all just digital stuff.
Yeah, most of the time.
Premium
deluxe, yeah.
came with like a case. Then there was stuff
Steel
I
cover.
fell for. Yeah, steel cover. Then there was the Day Zero edition
Yeah.
that didn't come with the game.
Didn't come.
It
with
just
it.
came with the collector's edition content. But
Yeah,
no game, you
that's
still had
right.
to pay for the game.
That's right.
And I fell for it. I forgot what game it was. I like pre-ordered it.
Were those called Day Zero?
Yeah.
Or were they
Day
called?
Zero edition. I think
they had a
remember
different term.
It
for
had a
them.
different term.
There was a-
There's some Day Zero ones because I know there was I think Metal Gear Day Zero edition.
Yeah.
that. Day
Was it
Zero.
for Metal
No,
Gear
no,
Solid 5
no,
or what
No,
game was
not
it?
Metal Gear.
No, there was one. I remember there was one for Mirror's Edge Catalyst,
Mirror's Edge
Oh,
Catalyst
Mirror's
is the one I
Edge,
was
yeah.
and
thinking of.
there was
I
another one
almost
for
did.
Titanfall 2. I remember
Yeah.
they had that too because
And
I picked up
Oh,
the Titanfall 2
Titanfall.
before I picked
Oh,
up the
do you
game.
remember that box? That was a huge box. For
Are we talking the
Titanfall.
collector's edition? Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh no! I'm sorry. I didn't buy the one with the helmet though.
Yeah.
I wanted that one though, but I didn't buy that one.
That thing was huge.
Yeah, that was huge.
That
Yeah.
came in a story like that one guy would walk like, "This is yours." Like, oh crap! I don't
Remember
have
they were all
room.
stacked in the back room. I was like, oh.
This is gonna hurt somebody. And I mean, I remember all that stuff coming in, and customers like, "Why?" The best thing about pre-ordering at GameStop, and that I don't think people realize, is it lets the company show interests that this game will be popular, so they should send more. When people are like, "There's no point pre-ordering a Call of Duty game," fine, don't pre-order Call of Duty. That doesn't matter. But when it came to like JRPGs,
Right.
Mhm.
pre-order your JRPGs
Right.
if you like them, because you need to let the GameStop know to keep supplying
That
them
we
in.
have people here who want this game.
Otherwise, we're gonna get 20 pre-orders and 23 versions
Right.
of the 23 of those games are gonna come in.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
those 3 are gonna be people who are in that initial line, and then
Yeah.
you're gonna wonder why GameStop never has the game you want. It's like, well, did you pre-order? No.
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of times he was like, why would I pre-order it? It's like, well, because of this exact
This
situation.
exact situation.
Because everyone was like, oh, I thought you would get tons of them. I was like, no, they assumed no one wanted it, so they didn't give
Yeah,
us any.
that's another assumption. It's like we're just gonna get a ton of
ton
all
of this or
games.
ton of that,
That's not
yeah.
true.
Maddens we'd get a ton of.
Yeah.
Call of Duties, Battlefields. We
all,
get
all the daily drivers.
the
you know,
daily
like,
drivers.
yeah,
Yeah,
Big ones.
But those games that, man, my game was Fantasy Life on the 3DS. I had to hunt for that game. I didn't know how
Yeah.
good that was.
Remember when like that one game Ever Oasis came out?
Yeah,
Yeah.
oh,
You know,
dude.
yeah, like
Oasis.
we don't get any of them because no one pre-ordered it, but everyone found out it was a sweet game. You
That's
know?
why everyone's looking
Yeah.
for
And
it.
everyone's looking for it.
Yeah,
Or-
you
That's
have
actually-
the nah, we're sold out. What? Like we only got 3 in stock. What do you
Yeah,
expect?
or like
Yeah.
Fantasy Life, when Fantasy Life blew up, everyone's like,
Fantasy
I want my
Life.
Fantasy Life. Like, you didn't pre-order it? You know, I was like, that's
And
fine.
here's the thing: you
Yeah.
could always pre-order and cancel when when the game comes out if you didn't want to pick it up because
They
this.
think we're lying.
Yeah, they do. They think we're lying.
If you don't,
Like-
you know, what? Pre-order $5 down right now. If you don't want the game, cancel it anytime. No questions asked.
Or you could even downgrade it to the standard because the same thing happened with Persona Q2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I pre-ordered and
Oh, I
apparently
remember that.
yeah they called me and they were like, oh we know you. You're still good. It's still within 48 hours even. But even if it wasn't, we'll still hold it for you because, you come in all the time. But people have been calling and asking for this. Were you still going to pick it up? I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm actually going to pick it up today.
Right.
Like, I literally had the plan of picking up that day that he called me. And he was like, oh, okay, cool. I mean, I'm not trying to rush you, but I'm just getting a whole bunch of calls because it says we have it.
Right. Yeah.
And when I walked in to pick it up, I was like, oh, yeah, so you've been getting a lot of calls? He's like, oh, yeah, because we only got like 5 in because there was only 5 pre-orders.
No pre-orders.
Yeah.
I had a store what they did. I was talking to them, and one of the customers was like, hey, I'm not going to pick up this item for a week, but I am going to buy it. And just something happened, money went somewhere else. Mm-hmm. So the employee purchased it, kept the receipt. That way it was out of inventory and wrote on the box, like, return, rebuy for this guest.
Yeah, that's
and
smart.
then returned. Yeah, that way they had no calls. And I was like, man, that store had customers like you, had employees like you. And, like, had employees, like, that actually went that extra mile. Sucks that, like, the company itself didn't value those employees, and people wonder why that store is, like, the way it is now. It's like, because no one did the survey.
Yeah, no one did the surveys.
No one told the company that they were helping out.
Everyone spends more of the energy complaining than they do praising. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And
those employees were great peeps.
Yeah.
I just thought of another topic, but I actually remember one with our manager, again, the same manager that I worked with most of the time I was there, where she was holding something to buy for herself, but it was waiting for her paycheck, and GameStop paycheck, and she just paid her bills, so she was waiting for the new paycheck, and it wasn't that long of a hold. It wasn't like she was holding it for like a week or a month or anything. It was just like a few days. Yeah. But and then the hold request system is 48 hours too, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah, and so she was putting it on hold, and the district manager called and be like, no, you got to put that out there, and that was just.
Wow.
And that's like a bummer. So if you think we get preferential treatment all the time, we do not.
Oh man, I'll tell you what. Like I remember I had this really sweet. I think it was a figure arts link, like one of the nice ones. I think it was from A Link Between Worlds.
Oh, yeah.
I had it in the back. It just went on clearance, and I was like, this is gonna be mine, right? And like I remember my assistant manager at the time had a few. I think he had a few collectibles back there too. I think it was 2 of the Overwatch pops because they had just come out. I think it was like 76 when 76 was super rare, and then like I forget who else was back there, and then we had like I think like 1 or 2 games from one of my other employees because we had like the small little shelf, just kind of like for basic employee holds, and like we wouldn't hold for too crazy long. But my thing was like, yeah, exactly. We were all waiting for our paycheck because like that was the time where we were all just we were all gonna cash in, just go in, get all of our stuff. We were gonna clean house, like it was gonna be fine, right? District manager comes in one day. Goes to the back room as always, because like he's trying to make my store his hub or whatever.
Yeah.
Goes over and I see him walking out of the back with like some of our stuff, ready to put it on the shelves. And I'm just like, oh, whoa, like we were gonna purchase that right now. And he's just like, no, like wait, employee holds? No, we don't do that. No, like start putting it out. He's like, this stuff's gonna sell right now. Like, like you should be selling it now. And we're like, well, yeah, I get it. It's gonna sell today, but like it's still gonna hit the numbers for the week if we buy it 2 days later.
Yeah.
Because we're gonna get paid. So what's the real idea there? And he's just like, no, like
we want it, we can't buy it. We have to wait till we're guests.
We have to wait until we're guests to be able to purchase those items.
That's a bummer too. Like again, we're back to the point where you can't buy it because you're working.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and sure enough, the Fig Arts Link sold. They were like, oh, it went on clearance. Like, yeah, I want that. Sure enough, the 76 pop sold hella fast, and like, everyone's like, oh, these are on the shelf. Like, sweet, we're like,
Yeah.
So we're just like, district manager just comes to the back and just like, cause like I said, no special treatment. Just like, I already has him in hand, and what am I going to tell him no? Am I going to take it from him?
The thing is,
give it back.
I've actually seen situations where district manager has called in to ask to put stuff on hold for themselves to go pick it up.
That same district manager, once the Chase pops started getting really popular, started putting those pops on hold all the time.
Mm-hmm. See? So yeah,
the dark side of collectible.
Yeah, right.
And that's see, so it's sometimes we have the advantage, and sometimes we don't. It's really just almost equal footing when it comes to who gets the treatment, who actually gets the stuff they want.
Yeah.
Like it's not always customers don't always get what they want. Employees don't always get what they want.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's
and we kind of in it.
We can level. Even we talk about employees can hold it until they try to get for the payday, even if it's like 48 hours hold. But the hold system, they don't let you do that as an employee.
Right.
So
not officially.
Yeah. So customers can use the 48-hour hold system. We can't.
Couldn't.
That's a disadvantage.
Yeah.
So we can't do our own transactions when we're working. Total disadvantage, especially during the amiibo times.
Especially during limited pre-order time. Yeah.
I wanted the Majora's Mask 3DS pre-order. I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I was working the day.
Right. It was impossible.
It was impossible for me to do it. And I actually got it in the second wave though. Eventually.
Oh, you did when they came out.
When they released the second wave, I was like, oh yeah, I'm getting that now because I'm not working right now.
Yeah, I'm not working.
You guys want to hear my
do it.
Majora's Mask endeavors in the previous episode?
Oh,
But I jumped through some hoops for that guy too as well. First wave.
Yeah,
Like,
for the first wave.
Yeah, I got the first wave one, but it was not an easy task whatsoever. Not for anybody. Like I feel like we were all in that same struggle.
Oh yeah.
Nintendo there for a while was doing us. I wouldn't say doing us dirty, but they were doing us dirty.
Kind of for everybody.
Yeah, like everybody.
I mean, this is the whole history with Nintendo and the limited stuff, and they've actually been accused as far back as Nintendo, the original Nintendo series for limited production stuff, and so we could probably talk about that another time. It's really hard to tell now whether it's authentic. Maybe it's half true, half not. It's hard to tell because they've been doing it since Nintendo.
Yeah,
I was gonna say when you guys were talking about stuff that were really sought after, the Nintendo Wii, that was a ridiculous time.
The artificial demand.
Yeah,
is what they called it.
Yeah,
you were part of the Wii Wars, weren't you?
The Wii Wars.
Yeah, you were there during the Wii Wars,
I
right?
was on the front lines during the Wii Wars for a little bit, like the tail end of the Wii Wars.
Yeah,
and they're the buzzwords at that time was artificial demand. Is this real? Is this not real? Is there a stash of golden Wiis, in some Nintendo warehouse somewhere?
Were they just
just trickling
out?
At the time, and I think it was true that there were Nintendo Wiis in the back, right? In the back room. I'm not too sure whether that was true or not with GameStop, but I was working at another store at the time. I was managing another game store, and all the customers from GameStop were accusing now all the stores of doing the same thing. It's like, Nintendo gave the word out that there's Wii's in the back, and they're not allowed to sell it until this day. And so we got hit with that too, and it was like, I don't know. Like, we're not getting that much as it is, so I'm not sure about a back room full of them.
Oh man. Even going into like, if we're talking holds, like when Nintendo Switch came out, like I remember there was times where we'd only get, I think it's a box of. It's about 6, I believe, per box. And then you knew which ones it was because I always knew the Nintendo boxes because it always had like the cool Japanese writing on it and stuff. It's like they have very distinctive boxes. So then like I hold them up, and be like, oh, sweet, yeah, these are the Switches right here. But we'd only maybe get like one box where like when launch came out, maybe like we were like 2 to 3 weeks or something. Yeah. Or like we had that first initial like crop of them, and after that it was like maybe like one box every like week or two. But we'd have those people that would sit in store and they would wait for the UPS guy to come in, and they're already counting the amount of boxes that I have.
Funny.
And they're like, I know there's Switches in that box right there. And I'm just like,
great.
I was like, how do you know? It's just like, no, like I've seen it online. There's a Reddit. There's like all this stuff. Like that's the Nintendo
like the
box right there. And if you tell me it's not, like Switches, I'm not going to believe you. And sure enough, I'm going back there. It's just like, it wasn't Switches. But then, like, people are flipping out,
Yeah.
And then sometimes it would be Switches. But then it's just like, yeah, no, like, I'm not holding them for anybody. But, like, there is a process. I still have to check them in. I still have to do all this stuff, You guys can line up. But, like, you can't just be demanding them, like, right off the bat.
Yeah.
And stuff,
You can't just buy it out of the box. It has to go to a system
I
first.
have to put it in my system. I have to take inventory, confirm that it's actually there.
Yeah, but there's times like that where it's like they're vultures.
Well, we need to talk about one time doing inventory.
Oh no,
God.
Right?
Yeah, we'll do store processes in an episode a little later. I feel like we might have talked a little bit.
We've probably talked about some kind of store process before already.
Well, I just remember like speaking on that, dude. The pain of those pop figure boxes, stuff like that. People are like, I'm here for that. Like, listen, I have like 3 days worth of distro I need to take in. This stuff is overdue. I need to take this in and add it. But I can't. Why can't I buy it right now? Because it's not in my system. So
let me get these collectibles in first.
I have to do this.
Then you can get your collectible.
It was just the worst. Our customers wouldn't understand. Like, I can't sell you this product. It's not sellable yet. What do you mean? It's right there. It's it's not. I can't sell it until
as far as the
2 weeks.
store is concerned, this doesn't exist.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't even look at it.
Yeah.
Don't even look at it. Don't even look.
It's like, listen,
Yeah, right.
I know someone put it on the floor. I'm removing them from the floor and putting them in the back.
Yeah.
I want that. You can buy this, the exact same thing. I want that.
You're trying to distract him with something else.
Yeah,
Hey,
right.
look
I
over
have
here.
this.
Look over here.
Look
Look
at
over
these
here.
new releases over here. This new pre-order binder. Check this out.
Check this out.
I think we got Battletoads over there. You want to go look?
Yeah.
No, but it's
All
true.
right.
Yeah,
I mean,
they-
this isn't like a swap meet, you know. Like,
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
because we got it
exactly.
in doesn't mean you can get it right now.
This
It's-
isn't a barter system.
yeah,
What's
this
going
is
on
this a
here?
corporate system here where it's
Yeah.
like, okay, we have to. The system has to recognize that it's in the store now.
Yeah.
Right, right. We
Yeah,
have
right.
to
And
update
this
the store.
This is actually also technically part of an anti-theft from
Yeah.
employee
yeah,
system.
yeah, definitely. Exactly.
So let it happen, guys.
There's a reason for this in
Yeah.
place.
I remember
Let it
talking
happen,
to people like, listen,
customers.
I'm just a cog in the machine right now. Like, I can't do anything unless you want me to lose my job. Well, I don't care if you have your job. Then I don't care if you have your product.
Yeah.
Like I don't understand customers when they say that. It's like, I don't care about you. I'm like, well, I don't care about you.
Yeah.
Like,
Then,
you don't care about me. Why should I care about you? Like, this is a give and take right here.
no, the best feeling was after that customer. The next customer was really cool. All right, but you know, I'm gonna break a rule for you. I'm gonna let you buy this item.
You could
right
buy
now
it before I check it in.
because you're great.
Yeah.
Oh, that item I can check it in after.
Yeah,
Yeah, check
I'll
it in
just-
later.
I know
I'll just
you-
go negative until I do the distro.
Yeah,
and
it's
I'll
fine.
go back
Don't
even
even trip.
again. That's fine.
Yeah, so
That's totally cool.
it's always the worst when you actually do get that box and people are waiting for it. But It's
Yeah.
like it's to fulfill your like 4 last pre-orders or
Yeah,
something.
it's like,
Yeah.
listen.
And then
Yeah.
people are sitting there and they're like, no, why can't you just like, because he's already paid for it, like by somebody else.
paid for
And
it.
like they've been waiting for the shipment because you know how GameStop is about
Yeah.
not fulfilling pre-orders properly sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So we're like sitting there, like, oh, I've been waiting for these 4 for like a week, or
Yeah.
like 2 weeks, and these
They
people have
get
been like
priority.
chilling, like, you know.
Right.
But it's like, is it 48-hour hold at that point, you know? But then it's like they already have the pre-order on
Exactly.
it, you know. And they're like, but then these
Just the
people are
hold.
throwing the 48-hour hold at me, and I'm just like, I get it.
They're
There's
throwing
been like,
policy at me, and that's.
and I'm trying to tell them, it's like, okay, is it 48 hours from when the product releases, or is it 48 hours from when it's in my
For when
store?
we get it.
So I
right.
told them, like, no, it's 48 hours from once it's in my store.
Right. We're going
So
by
like at that point, if you want to start throwing policy around, I'm the manager, so I'm gonna start
Yeah.
telling you policy.
Yeah.
It's almost
You
it's,
know,
it's
yeah.
kind of like moving from like the 3-second roll when food falls
Yeah,
on the floor
right.
to the 5-second roll
5
in
seconds.
case you don't get it. You know,
You know, it's
in
a
3
10-day
seconds.
rule. It's,
And then you-
I'm still eating it.
It's a little bit like that actually, which is everything to say manager discretion.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
And then you can pick it up later and be like, oh, this hair on it. This is a 0-second rule.
yeah, right.
yeah, I don't even want this anymore.
Nope.
Buy that collectible. This game sucks. I don't even want this anymore. You can take it back.
Fallout canvas bag.
Canvas bag.
Oh, damn.
I actually wanted to laugh about Fallout just to go back on when we were talking about people trading and stuff. Remember I got a copy of Fallout 4 traded in. Did I ever show you that case that people custom made? A
Oh,
case
God.
for their friend?
No, I don't think
It
so.
was like Fallout 4, and on the back where you still see like all the accolades it got.
Yeah.
Like, pretty good game by my friend Kevin.
That's great.
It Just Works by Todd Howard. Remember, you look at everything like it's an Xbox game, but they put like PlayStation 4 requirements. And I was
That's
like,
great.
That sounds amazing.
yeah,
That's
no,
great.
the customers were like, yeah, it's our friend's birthday gift that we redid the entire cover art. And I'm like, I want
just
this.
works.
So I sold it. And I put that cover art out
Really?
there on the wall. And I remember looking at a guest like, oh, Fallout 4. And their brain broke. Because they were trying to
Just
read all the
froze.
small print, like Best Dog Simulator. Like, would work better on my Nintendo if I had one. Weird things to put on the back of a box. And
That's
the
great.
customers walk up, I want this game, but I don't want this cover
Yeah. Do
art.
you have another cover?
I'm like, yeah, they're like, what? What's is this the official cover? I'm like, nah, someone traded it in that
This is
way.
the
And
official cover.
I left it out there for this moment, dude. Like that was my joy at work. It was like just watching people like, huh? Fallout? My friend Kevin? What?
Oh wow.
That's great.
Leave it to Cricket to end the episode about collectibles.
I know, right?
With an excellent collectible story, because that is a collectible.
That
right
is
there.
like actually it like if I had received one of those, I would have traded in the game, but not the case. I would have kept that
Yeah,
case.
That's a collectible case right there. One of a kind. In like unique.
Yeah.
That cover art was in the
Unique.
back of our old store for the longest time until I switched stores.
I'm like, that's the kind of crap I do.
Oh,
I mean, you guys know.
Yeah, I was looking at our friend's birthday. It was like, hey, dude, lost my sock. Let me know if you find it. We're great birthday gifters.
Oh, man.
All right. Well.
So I was chased by a
coffin.
coffin, right? And
Yes.
it kept coming after me. And I was trying to run away. So I went inside of a Target. And the coffin followed me. And I went to the Target employee, like, please help. And he said, hey, thanks for signing up for a Target Red Card. You get 10% off your entire order. I said, no, thank you. So I threw a bunch of rocks at the coffin. Didn't help. So I left and I went to Walmart. And the coffin was still following me into a Walmart. And I go to the Walmart employee. I'm like, please help. There's a coffin chasing me. Walmart employee says, we don't sell coffins. Try Costco. So I say, screw that. I run to a CVS pharmacy. Said, help, there's a coffin chasing me. And I said, welcome to CVS. We can buy a pack of gum this big, but get a receipt paper this long. I'm like, this doesn't help at all. So I tried leaving the store, but I tripped. I knocked over all the candy, and now the coffin's right above me. And I'm panicking. I'm throwing everything at the coffin. Finally, I throw this bag of something at the coffin. It falls out, and it disappears. So I'm thinking, what did I throw at the coffin? And I look, and I have a bag of Hall's cough drops. And I say, of course, cough drops makes the coffin go away.
Okay, so why that's funny?
I was silence.
Thanks, everyone. This has been Closing
The
Stuff.
coffin is like the coffin chasing me, but coffin like your body exhales involuntarily, and so the coffin
Chasing the coffin. You guys can see it, but Cashwrap is dying right now.
Let's go into like antigens and stuff now, why don't we?
I just want to let everybody know that this is Cricket trying to get into the store as we're closing the gates. We're trying to pack up. We're trying to go home.
Hey, wait! I really want to buy Mario Party right now. Please, hey guys.
I know exactly what I want. Please
I'm
let
parked
me
right,
in.
I'm parked right in front.
Parked right in front. I got my
I'll
car
be in and
still
out.
running.
Right, in and out.
I'll
right
be
now.
in and out as I now look at the PS3 wall for an hour.
Pulls out his giant bag of treat.
And tells us another joke.
Screw that guy.
Well, thank you, Cricket. It's been wonderful having you
I'm
guest.
about to eat more of a
Again.
bucket of cookies, y'all.
Well, with that being said, guys, put everything on hold. Call your local GameStop and just hold
Call
everything.
them, put everything on hold. Don't take no for an answer.
Hey, what do you say
And
about
rip-
those cookies?
I tried to eat a bucket of them. It's not possible.
All right, guys.
Thanks, everyone. We'll see you all next week on
Make sure
another
to,
episode of Closing
Support
Stuff.
your local teachers. I don't know how, but do it.
Yeah, like, subscribe, give us a bias 5-star. Peace out.
Yay.
Later.